Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's me, Joe Salyers, here at the Music Factory Studios. We're going to check out Deepin Linux. Deepin Linux is a Chinese distribution that actually caught my eye a few years ago when it was still based on Ubuntu. And it really made me wonder why Linux for the desktop has been so, how do I want to say this nicely, lagging behind even the other two big desktop operating systems. Sure, there has been some innovation that I personally like. Solus Budgie or Ubuntu Budgie, either one are great desktop environments. GNOME has come a long way over the years, I can say that for sure. But the one that has really taken off and changed the way that people look at the Linux desktop is Deepin. Now, this is just a machine that at the end of each year when the local big box store, I won't name the big box store, but takes the old computers off the shelf and puts new ones on, they usually sell those computers that are on display for a quarter of what they actually cost. So that's how I got this little machine. I thought, you know what, it'd be a great little Linux box. It's an i3 7100 Kaby Lake processor. Not Kaby Lake. Yeah, Kaby Lake. Because Coffee Lake is the 8th gen. So it's an i3 7100. It's, a little dual core with hyper threading. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, and that's it. Nothing special about it, but it runs Linux really well. Deepin Linux does some things really nicely. It does some things that could use improvement, but like the wallpaper pick. The way to pick a wallpaper is so awesome. You just literally right click, choose wallpaper and screensaver, and pick the wallpaper you want. I personally like this hummingbird wallpaper a lot. Okay, now another feature that is available on Mac OS X, but it's also available on Deepin, is this ability to, how do you do it? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's here. If you want to auto arrange, you can auto arrange and auto merge. So auto merge basically takes it takes icons of the same type or files of the same type, I guess you should say, and it merges them together so you can save on files being all over your desktop, but still be able to use files on your desktop, which is something GNOME just doesn't let you do anymore unless you add an extension and go through a whole rigmarole of other stuff. You can have them super large to super tiny too, which is really nice. So you can set it up however you need it to be depending on your screen size. This screen is 1920 by 1080, so I can have them super large if I want to, but I've also got a laptop that has a 768 screen, 1366 by 768, and I can't really have icons this big on the desktop because they look absolutely enormous. And another thing you can change the size of is the dock. You can have a super large dock, like if you have a 4K screen, or you can have a very small dock if you have like a 720p screen. So it's really, really handy. There are two modes to the dock, fashion mode and efficient mode. Efficient mode is something like the Windows taskbar, I think it's called in Windows, but you can actually move this one and it doesn't like get all distorted if you put it on the right or the left, or screw up Windows if you put it on top. But you can put it on the top, you can put it on the left or the right, and you have a couple different launcher options, which we'll look at in just a second. You can have it on the right, the left. You can have it in fashion mode, which is a dock. And one really neat thing about the dock that is in Deepin is, I want to put it back here on the bottom. I want to make it large so this is easier to be seen. So they have this little button here. You see the little camera and the power button here. This little button right there. What this is basically your Wi-Fi or your sound, connected drives, Google Hangouts. You can also pull up, I believe I just stopped my recording. No, I didn't. Did I? No, it's still recording. Good deal. So you can hide the icon with it. And this button here will just open the side window. Now, one thing that I would criticize Deepin for is in the initial install, the multitask view button is not in the dock. For some reason, you have to open up your apps and drag it into the dock, which is so dumb. But you can do this, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. So you can add other desktops, okay? Now, I'm not using a touchpad, but there are touchpad gestures inside of Deepin. So one of those is to take all 4 fingers and pull straight down on the touchpad. What will happen is it will go into multitask view like this, okay? And it's really easy to do so. Now, something that I also like about Deepin is you can have different wallpapers on different desktops. So if you use the super key or the Windows key or the meta key or whatever you want to call it, the little key that's usually the Windows key on most keyboards, you hold that down and go left to right, it will shift desktops for you. Or if you're more of a mouse computer user or a mouse-based computer user, you can use the multitask view, and you can have a different wallpaper for each of the desktops. Now, the one thing is it will take a minute for it to catch up. So whichever desktop you're on, when you're in this multitask view, it will show that wallpaper for both. But once you switch over, you will actually have different desktop wallpapers. But that's okay. Having the gestures is great, and I don't understand why some other Linux distros don't have these gestures. I mean, they're so common now. Mac OS has some great gestures, probably the best in the business. And with the new Windows Precision drivers that have come out in the past few years, I've noticed the Windows touchpads are getting even better, which is a good thing. Okay? Now, Deepin has a really cool launcher, and that launcher looks like this. And it has a few different modes. So the best part about Deepin is no matter if you're used to Windows, like say Windows 7 or Windows 10, Windows 8.1, or you've used mostly Android devices or the iOS, iPad, iPhone devices, or you've been a Mac user, you're going to be comfortable in Deepin. Here's why. Okay? So, if you're used to a dock and the Launchpad launcher like is on Mac OS, all you have to do is just use it in its stock profile. Basically, this little swirl button that says launcher, you click on it and you get all your apps launched. But you say, well, what if I wanted something that's like category based, like my favorite Android launcher? Well, this button up here on the left, you can click it, and it now gives you these categories: internet, music, video, graphics, office. You just click on those and they will take you to whatever you're looking for. Okay? Now, what if you say, well, I'm used to the Windows Start menu and the Windows taskbar. You've already shown me how to make it look like the taskbar. You just right-click one of these separator lines, and you change it to efficient mode. Okay. The next thing you want to do to get the Windows look and feel is click on the launcher and go up to the top right corner. There's going to be this little button up here. You click it, and now you have a start menu similar to that in Windows Vista, XP, Windows 10. And all of your apps are here, okay? And you have even category based. So if you forget the name of it and you want to search for what it is by the type of app it is, all you have to do is go into all categories and say, well, I want to go on the internet, and choose Google Chrome. It does come with Google Chrome as its stock web browser. But the good thing is inside of Deepin's App Store, I guess you would call it, or Software Center, you have the option to install numerous different web browsers, everything from Opera to Vivaldi, Yandex for the Eastern Europeans and Russians that may use Deepin OS. You got the flagship Linux web browsers such as Midori and Firefox. There's also Brave is in here, and a lot of really good apps like Send Anywhere, which is on all of my devices, because I have Windows boxes, Linux boxes, Mac books, an iMac, a Mac Pro. I have an iPad, an iPhone. I have a couple Android tablets, and Send Anywhere is on all of them because it gives me the ability to move files around anywhere pretty easily. And it's super simple. It's available here in the Deepin App Center, and you can get about any browser that you're used to. Vivaldi, Firefox, Opera, I mean, you name it, it's here. Brave, and anything that's Debian based, you can install on Deepin because Deepin is based on Debian. So I will show you here really quick. Let me switch this back. Now, if you went to the start menu and you liked it, but you wanted to go back, all you have to do is click on the right-hand side here, and boom, you've got the launcher back the way it was. You can also, do lots of little interestingly good things with Deepin. Okay. I just turned on Onboard. Onboard is really handy if you're in the dark and you need to type something really quick, like a password or something, and it's too dark in the room, and you can't like type in the dark. Onboard, you can leave it in the dock, and when you need to type something, just click on it, and boom, up pops a keyboard. It works. So, let's look at Deepin here. Deepin OS 15.11. This is on an old HP Slimline. This is running kernel 4.15. It has 1,506 packages, whatever that. Who cares? Why is that even? I mean, who really wants to know how many packages they're running? It's the KWin window manager, which is the same window manager basically that Mac OS forked back in 2000 from the KDE project, and it's the same window manager as Plasma. Okay, now I'll show you a few things about this machine. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we know it's an i3 7100, and we're running kernel 4.15. Has 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, let's go with a little more detail here. There we go. This tells us what our graphics driver is. It's running the Mesa DRI Intel HD graphics, version 3.0, Mesa 18.1.9. Now, a really neat little app that comes with Deepin is the Deepin, where is it at? The GPU app. There it is. The Deepin Graphics Manager. And another thing about Deepin, so if you want to change your app to dark, and you've changed it in the settings to be dark, but it's not dark, just go to the little hamburger menu here and choose dark theme. It's that simple. Everything works that way. From the file manager, even if you set the dark theme, the file manager is going to look like this. When you open it up, just click on the hamburger menu and go dark theme. But you have the Intel driver, the Intel compatibility mode, and the Intel accelerated mode, okay? And if you don't really understand what the differences are between them, click on the help and it will explain to you which driver is the best choice for you. If you have NVIDIA graphics or an AMD graphics, or if you have AMD and NVIDIA, or Intel and NVIDIA, or Intel and AMD, it tells you which one is the proper one to use. It's really handy. It makes it so much easier. And it's simple. It's as simple as click OK, and then reboot, and you're done. But this is a real simple machine, and it runs Deepin really, really well. Now, a lot of people are kind of freaked out that it's a Chinese distribution. Okay? Most distributions are coded and put together by people from all over the world. So why are you really worried about a Chinese distribution? All of the code is open source, so you can go look at it yourself. If you say, well, I'm not a developer. Okay, well, you don't hear any developers screaming about it, do you? Okay, the people who really know what they're talking about, that are auditing the code, you don't hear them going, stay away from Deepin. You don't hear that, because it's fine. Now, it's going to be included in the new Huawei MateBook in China, as far as I know. It may end up being the operating system for the MateBook permanently. I will leave it at that because I don't get into politics on this channel. But Deepin has probably the best app store of any Linux distribution I've seen so far. It's not as quick as, say, the Solus Software Center, but it is very, very graphically intensive, which is really nice for new users. I think the goal of Deepin is to be really handy for those who are new to Linux. And it's just perfect for somebody who wants to move away from Windows but wants to have all of the options they had on Windows. You want to edit photos on your machine? Sure, get GIMP. You want to edit videos on your machine? Sure, grab Kdenlive or whatever is available. Let's say you're a video editor and you do tutorials or screencasts, or you record how to do things on your computer. How would you do that on Linux? Well, you can do it using Kdenlive, simple screen recorder like I am now, or Voco Screen, which is a great screen recorder. Record my desktop. There's also Kazam, which is a great one too. You have OBS in the repo, GUVC View, which is it's a screen recorder, a camera recorder. It does a bunch of different stuff. Flowblade, which is an amazing video editor. If you're coming from like Apple, like iMovie and that type of stuff, or you're coming from Windows and say something like Filmora's Wondershare's Filmora, Flowblade and PITIVI, Pit TV, I guess is how you're supposed to say that. Both of those are great replacements for iMovie, Wondershare, Filmora, those types of editors. Kdenlive is here. Lightworks is here. If you use something like, say, what is that? The DaVinci Resolve, Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve and Fusion, you have something that is very similar to Fusion, and it's called Neutron. And Neutron is, I swear, if I didn't know any better, I would say that Blackmagic's Fusion is based on this open source code, because the interfaces look a lot alike. They work real similar, and it's a vector and 3D type graphic processing application. It's a little over my head as far as how to use it. I don't need it, but I have played around with it, and it's pretty cool what you can do with it. There's also things like Transmageddon, which is a good alternative to Handbrake, but Handbrake's here as well. I mean, there's numerous things. VLC, if you're coming from Windows, you'll know what VLC is. In the graphics department, you've got GIMP, Inkscape, Blender, Shotwell. Deepin has their own great image viewer built in. Deepin has probably the best music and movie app of all the Linux distros. Like even if I install a different Linux distro, I end up using the Deepin Music and Deepin Movie apps just because they're slick. Okay, they're real slick. I just installed this on this machine, and there's really nothing installed like music or anything yet, but it's powerful. This OS is very powerful. It runs on stable Debian. You've got games, you've got Office software. It has WPS built in, which is okay if that's your thing. WPS Writer, presentation, and spreadsheet. Deepin has its own screen recorder and voice recorder built in as well. It has a great terminal, an app store. It has a killer system monitor. Look at this thing. If you've never seen this before, you've got this CPU monitor and memory monitor. It monitors your network and your disk. Okay. You also have compact mode over here. So if you need to make it like really small for some reason, or have it kind of give you a different view, you can look at it in that way, or you can go to the full view. Well, I went light theme. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you if you're watching this in the dark. But it's a really good task manager, or whatever you want to call it, activity monitor, everything as far as the built-in Deepin apps are just super nice. Okay, the Deepin calculator, which will make that dark, it works really well. 55 times 2 is 110. Let's see, what else do we have here from Deepin? You've got the font installer. So if you find some fonts, because Deepin doesn't come with a lot of fonts built in, maybe 10 or 15, not very many at all. And oh, let's put the show desktop button here in the dock. Wow, that's a new one. I didn't even know that existed. Check that out. Cool. And then the multi. Very cool. Very cool, Deepin. That's handy. We'll scoot that to there. Now, you also have, like I said, the Deepin voice recorder. It's really nice. Okay. And there are just a plethora of really good apps in the App Store, along with built-in Deepin apps. I use Simple Note on every machine as well. It syncs literally instantly, and it works perfectly for just taking notes and doing, just quick note takedowns. It has a dark mode, which is perfect. Works great on iOS, Mac OS, Windows, Android, anything you use it on, it works well. Linux, just I can't say enough good things about that. Now, there is just a plethora of apps, as you can see, but they rank apps as well, like most downloaded apps from their app store. It gives you those here. No surprise the Deepin ones would be up toward the top, because every time you update, you get new Deepin apps, so they're always going to be kind of at the top. You can have alternate file managers too. If you like Nautilus or Nemo or anything that's in the Debian repos, you can get it. Audacity's here. I'm trying to see if there's anything kind of out of the ordinary that you might want. I've ran more third-party apps on Deepin than I have anywhere else. Here's Discord. Discord is available. Wow, that's pretty cool. Krita. You also have, there's some really nice social media apps here too. So there's Whatsy, which is a WhatsApp kind of replacement. Let's see if there is still they used to have a messenger app that covered Facebook Messenger. I know it's here. Where is it at? Am I just overlooking it? Nope. Chat. That's probably where it's at. There's Caprine. Caprine is a really good Facebook Messenger app, and it does really well as far as being a good replacement for an Android user who's moving over to Deepin. If you're from Eastern Europe or Russia, here's a VK Messenger. You've got Telegram. Here it is, Messenger for desktop. This is the one that I thought was done very well. It had dark mode when I tried it, so awesome. I think Caprine has dark mode too, but it works kind of like this. So, you know what I mean? It's like, why have that? You could just open up a browser. There's Corebird, which is a Twitter app. Skype, Discord, as we said earlier. You've got other awesome things here too. You have really cool music apps. Audacity, Clementine, Spotify. A lot of people like to listen to Spotify. You've got Audacious. You've got MuseScore if you are a person who likes to chart music. You also have CAF's audio plugins if you wanted to use those with Jack. The Deepin voice recorder mix. Our door is here if you need a full-fledged digital audio workstation. Rhythm Box. Rose Garden if you want to play with MIDI instruments. There's just a plethora of stuff you can install. If we go to the home here though, we can go down a little bit, and there's some topics here that might help you to find the software you're looking for. Also, since Deepin is based on Debian, you can install any .deb file that you find on the internet. So if you find a piece of software that you want to install, say a newer version of Chrome than what's actually installed, you can download from any website that has the .deb or .deb file if you're a new user. And that comes in really handy because I like to use the messaging app Wire, and I can head over to the Wire website, grab Wire, and install it because they have a .deb file. And that makes it so much easier. But I haven't really got anything bad to say about Deepin OS, except for I really wish some of the translations were a little better. And I have even contributed to some of the translations, but we need more help. I don't have a lot of time. I mean, it's a lot for me to do a 10-minute video per day because of working in the studio all day or all night, depending on the artist. And I'm really into checking out Linux distros right now because I've got a bunch of extra machines laying around and I don't want to put Windows on them. So I'm checking out all these distros, and one of these is eventually going to be the one I use. So far, my late night laptop, the laptop I use around the house, has Solus on it, and that's there to stay. But I've been looking around at other distros just to see what else is out there. I think I should have maybe my laptop run Solus, and I've got a nice little tablet slash laptop thing that I'm probably going to run like Arch or Manjaro on. And I have this machine, which will probably run Deepin or something super stable. And since Deepin's based on Debian, that's probably the best choice. But you've got all kinds of little options to look around. Here are the Deepin apps themselves, the Deepin family. It said if it's going to open up. Oh, what's going on? What happened? But as you can see, Deepin is a really nice. It has a built-in screen recorder. It doesn't record audio, sadly enough, but it works. It's just really nice. Here's the introduction to Deepin. I don't think it'll play because I'm using Jack. It doesn't, but it'll explain the desktop modes. You have fashion mode and efficient mode. Here's the different icon themes. Basically, I have Deepin Light and Deepin Dark and Papyrus, right? As you can see down here on the dock, it changed. There's the Deepin Light, and here's Deepin Dark. The difference between them is this. Here are the folders, as you can see. Here's Deepin Light. You get a brighter folder, and there's Papyrus, and here's Deepin Dark. The icons just look more professional on the Deepin folder icons. I will say that. But I like Papyrus icons. I really do. I normally use them on other Linux distros. You also have window effects, which are the animations. You can actually turn them off if you're getting issues with glitching or things of that nature. And then it has a little bit of documentation about them, but it's got an introduction video that I can't play because I'm using Jack audio right at the moment. But if you play this little video, it will show you all about Deepin. So when you first boot it up, you get this video, and it's really helpful to someone who's new to Deepin Linux. All right, guys and gals, that was Deepin Linux, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the distro that stays, but I think that it might be a contender, okay? And Deepin, well, that's not how you spell neofetch, is it? That's what I get for not looking at the keyboard. Deepin Linux, man, check it out. I'm not sure what the website is. It's like deepin.org, maybe. I can't remember. But man, check it out. It's a really nice desktop environment. There's so many things you can do to make it a good desktop environment, like turning off sound, turning off the crazy sound effects and the other nonsense. It just works. It works well. I like it. I can't say enough good things about it. And if there was a desktop environment that was geared toward people moving from other operating systems such as Mac OS or Windows to Linux, and your intention is to get them to stay, this is probably it. All right, guys and gals. Thanks for hanging out and watching me stumble through Deepin Linux here. Have a great day, y'all, and we'll see you next time.